Stuck in your own way, can't see the path to having project success. Why? Let me guess. You chose being perfect. You chose, maybe I'll start one day. Nope, that ain't it. Maybe you chose, I'll start on Monday. By the way, I have a quick question. How's that working out for you? Well, today we're going to change that. It's time, and I do mean it's time. I'm going to get on my, it's dang time, baby, to get out your own way. Let's redefine what it means to lead and transform your project journey starting now. If you're new to the channel, I go by the name of ED. For all you smart and intelligent folks out there, that just simply means Ed. I have an 8-point framework. In these 8 points, my goal, my mission, my job today is to unpack today's title, which is entitled How to Get Out Your Own Way to Lead Projects. Again, how to get out your own way to lead projects. You know, family, when I was thinking about this particular title and the construct of about how we sometimes get in our own way when we have a amazing opportunity and we don't understand that the opportunity may be amazing because we allow fear, we allow things that we cannot control, we allow, listen to what I am saying, family, we are allowing these things to get in the way of the success that we potentially can have, but we won't know that potential unless we do something about it. So I challenge you today, family, when you watch today's episode, that you ensure that you take immediate action. One of these tips is going to be something that's going to speak to you. I ask of you to go and experiment with it. The reason why I do this channel is to disrupt project management in a way that it will allow you to go out and test these, just not so it just not just be theory, that is actual pragmatic as well. So let's get into today's first tip. Introduce failure and push through. What does that mean? You know, one of the biggest things, family, is that we forgot about what failure is. Failure has been looked upon as something very negative. And because it's negative, we don't even see the positive in it. What are you talking about, ED? That doesn't even make sense to me. Well, okay, well, let me unpack it this way. When you look at your recent failures when you are leading a particular project, you can learn a lot more from the failures than you can the successes, because the successes, maybe you won't take the time to go back and look because you're like, hey, we got the project under budget, within time, or I should say within schedule, within cost, and within quality. Hey, we met the triple constraints. Yay for us. Versus where you struggled and you had to pull people along. You're like, how could I have done that better? So here's an actionable tip that I would recommend. Hold a weekly or a monthly session where team members can share their mistakes and learn from things that happen along the journey. Now, here's the biggest thing, family. If you decide to do this, which I hope that you do, experiment with this. You have to have a supportive environment. It has to be a safe environment. It has to be an environment where I should be able to come in and say, hey, these are the mistakes that I made as a stakeholder, as part of this project, and this is how I'm going to go about to course correct it. Does anyone else have any recommendations that how I could course correct this, or any suggestions? But that's another tip. But seriously, family, you have to create a safe place, safe space. And if someone is in there that is being that is not making sure that that is a safe place, you want to get them out this particular scenario, because all they're going to do is make it challenging for everyone else to share. So you want to ensure that you get some stakeholders that are there for the right reason, is to make the project better next time or even currently, as well as to make them better and as you better as a project manager. Hey, family, I really would love to know, what's the single biggest challenge you are having in project management? Again, what's the single biggest challenge that you're having in project management? I would love to hear from you. So uh, click the link in the description, and let's see how I could help you there. Let's move on to point number two. Point number two: adopt a beginner's mindset approach. Message, anytime I say message, family, what I'm basically saying, this is something you want to pay attention to. This is something that you want to stop all distractions and literally lock in to see what I'm saying here. The reason why I say that, family, is that when you adapt a beginner's mindset, you really open yourself up to not just think, oh, this is the way it's always been done. This is the way we always will do it. Because when you do that, then all of a sudden, now you're losing out on potential opportunities. Here's a good example. One of the things I used to do, so I played basketball, and I've shared this story before. And what I would do is shoot the piece of, let's say I had a piece of paper, it didn't matter what it was, into the garbage can. And there were other times that I walked it over to the garbage can. There's no difference in what I did except the results, but the output, meaning my output was that I needed to get this object in the garbage can, and I achieved that. So I say the same thing with here. Having a beginner's mindset really allows you to be able to accept and test out and experiment with different approaches. Point number three, use gamification for motivation. I don't care who you are. I haven't seen it yet, and maybe it's someone out there like that, but every time that I play, like almost like a gamification, I don't know, it's because I'm just a big competitor. I think we all have competitive, I mean, wanting to be competitive in a particular way. So being able to set up rewards, levels, and challenges really increases the engagement. I remember back in the day when the budgets used to be amazing when it came to uh, to basically travel, expense, and entertainment. And we'd be able to go get, like gift cards and things like this for people executing. But seriously though, family, this really works. So if the budget's improved or you have the budget, I would use some gamification within my project to lead it, because it's really will it will keep your stakeholders' attention. All right, let's move on to point number four. Point number four: organize shadowing days. I really miss this. I've been in particular organizations where they really they put their, as they say, put their hat on this. What that means is basically being able to understand how important it is to shadow people, because you may get a different perspective, like, why are they leading that way, but it's effective, let me see if I can go and test it out. And so what you would normally do, here's the tip, family: you would literally pair each project team member with someone in a completely different department. This is if you're working in a cross-functional matrix, for a day of shadowing every quarter. And the whole value is again, you get to learn how they conduct certain things. You get an opportunity to ask questions, and really it makes it even more engaging, because now stakeholders that maybe wouldn't even speak to each other are really starting to create a bond with each other. Let's move on to point number five: crowdsource solutions internally. What that means is when faced with a challenge, tap into the collective wisdom of the entire organization, not just the team. One of the things I used to love to do at a previous organization, where we would literally um, there would be a problem, and they would say, okay, everyone who wants to come and give we're going to have a brainstorming session. They would open up the training room and allow people to come in and just throw their particular solution out there, and be able to back it up of why they chose that solution. And it was so much fun, and it was engaging, because what it does is it really is really forcing your team to really start thinking outside the box. So basically what you need is a number one skill set as well, not the number, but in the top 3 or 5 skill set as a project manager, is being able to solve problems. All right, let's move on to point number 6. Embrace imperfection. Listen, I understand that you want to be perfect. You want to have cross all your T's, dot your I's, make sure that everyone is all good, everything is working. But listen, understanding that seeking perfection can really be paralyzing. This used to hurt me so much when I was leading projects, because of the fact that I was so caught up in making sure everything was perfect. And there are certain aspects that have to be perfect, but there were certain things that I could have let go, and we could have fixed it along the way. But the time I took and stopped the team and said, no, we need to address this now and make it really perfect, we were losing time in the long run. So I learned to kind of move along with the project and move it as we go along, fix it along the journey. And one of the things also I would recommend is set achievable standards for each phase of the project, and allow room for adjustments. That is key. What again, one of the biggest caveats, or excuse me, one of the biggest things I would recommend is being able to be adaptable as a project manager really would set you apart from a lot of project managers. Let's move on to point number 7, reverse mentorship. This was so fun when I got a chance to do this. So basically how it works, family, is you flip traditional mentorship roles by having newer or younger team members mentor more experienced members on new technology trends and perspective. Now I laugh because I remember when I actually did this because I was new to project management, and this was a more senior person, and I'm looking at it from a standpoint of just because he was asking me questions like, how do you think we could do this better? And I was like, oh, this is easy. You could do this, this, and this. He was like, how did you know that? I was like, because I'm not so attached to it. So I feel more free and I can give you a proper response. And you're so, and so that's why that reverse mentorship is amazing. And how that would look, family, if you're very interested in it, it would basically be you would pair up each senior team member with a junior member for about a month. And this is basically your mentorship program focusing on like digital skills, communication skills, and problem solving, and of course, innovative thinking. All right, let's move on to point number 8. I call this wild card workshops. So basically, what you would do is basically you would invite an expert completely unrelated to your field to lead a workshop for your team, open up new ways of thinking and problem solving. And the importance of this is it really allows an individual to kind of think outside of the box that they're in or the picture that they're in. They can dig deeper, and look at other particular unrelated fields and see how they solve particular problems. Here's my first bonus. You already know what I'm going to say when it comes to getting out your own way. If you don't, then that means you haven't been following me. So here's the bonus: creating a lab of being able to experiment, basically experimentation. I love, and I have to give it again to a gentleman named Steven, the Diary of a CEO, because he talked about experimenting, and I started. Once I heard it, boom, I went right away and started experimenting with things in the channel, just different writing styles, because I really truly think it's important to experiment to see what's working, and what might be working at this time may not be working in a month or 2 months later. So you having the ability to be adaptable, you having the ability to pivot is going to be that's going to speak volumes for you as a project manager. So I'll leave with my 3 closing remarks. As you guys know, point number 1, introduce failure and push through. All I'm saying there, family, is dedicate a safe place where you can talk with your stakeholders to understand, hey, what went well, what is not going well. And this is not done during, like, most project managers, we would wait to the end of the project, or, certain periods. But I really think if you did this, it depends on how long the project. If it's a year-long project, I would say do this quarterly. And again, you can, it just depending on what is going on in the project, but quarterly, and really just have a very safe, open discussion about, hey, what is not working here, and what do we need to change, and how can we change it, and things of that nature. Point number 2 from my closing remarks: organize shadow days. Like I said, shadowing days used to be so much fun because you would get a chance to watch how other people lead in their particular department, or functionality, and you can pick up things that you can take back and use in your day to day. And my last and final point here is adapt a beginner's mindset. Listen, when you adapt a beginner's mindset, you walk to a problem with a fresh perspective, even if you don't know anything, because your willingness to find alternative options will be huge for you. So, family, I hope you enjoyed. I don't know why I did that. Just, I felt like I was just speaking. But anyway, family, I hope you enjoyed today's episode around how, and I do mean how, to really, truly stay or get out your own way when you lead projects. Family is going to be very important that you get out your own way. You're not going to be perfect when you lead your first project. You're probably not going to be perfect when you lead your 20th project. But the point of it all is you have to get started. You have to move forward, and you're going to take some bumps and bruises. But those bumps and bruises, don't look them at it as bumps and bruises. Look at them as areas of opportunity to grow, areas of opportunity to see what works well and what doesn't, and the ability to pivot. Again, this has been your boy ED. Until next time, you know my slogan. I'm out.